Well, hello there, my beautiful friends. So you already know what time it is. It is the time of the week that we sit here and chat about all the new makeup releases that have been announced this week. And as per usual, we have like 1.5 million to talk about. So go ahead and grab yourself a snack, grab yourself a drink, whatever you may need to get yourself through this video. But if you are ready to chat about everything new that is releasing here in the makeup world, then go ahead and keep on watching and let's jump right on in. Honestly, my hair keeps getting messier and messier every time I try to fix this scenario right here. So yeah, it's not working today. You know, some days your hair just doesn't want to cooperate, and today's one of those days. So just a quick heads up, it's gonna be a hot mess today, and we're just gonna accept it for what it is. So the first release on the Pay or Stay Away list for this week is something that legitimately released right after I filmed Pay or Stay Away last week. And you know, sometimes I do regret filming Pay or Stay Away a few days before I post it, because I miss out on talking about specific things that people usually end up asking me about during the week. And that's kind of what happened with this situation. This is the new Colourpop spring collection, and everyone on my last Pay or Stay Away was like, dude, did you see the Colourpop spring collection? Because it's beautiful, and people wanted to know if I was gonna get it. And of course, right after I was done filming that video, this collection was announced, like right after. But the Colourpop Spring Coral collection is available now, of course, because I already purchased some of it. And it consists of the Sweet Talk eyeshadow palette, which retails for $18, 6 new Jelly Much eyeshadows, which are $8 each, 6 Super Shock blushes, which are also $8 each, and I believe some of the shades are new and some of them are just existing shades that maybe they had for limited edition, or just shades that they had already had in the existing line. And there are also 6 cream luxe lipsticks that I believe are the same scenario. I think some of them are new and some of them are just ones that they hand-picked from their line already that were corally in nature. So like I said, you guys know, I went ahead and purchased some things from this collection, and honestly I was like right on the fence of not purchasing certain things because I just knew that I had some of these colors in my collection already. And honestly, I'm sure a lot of us have some of the shades that are in the Sweet Talk eyeshadow palette. So did any of us really need to go out and purchase it? Probably not, but there was just something about that palette that was really enticing and that just seemed to draw everybody in, and that is the fact that Colourpop has somehow, seemingly and magically, turned their Super Shock shadow formula that usually come in the little closed container that you have to make sure are completely closed and sealed and tight or else they will dry out. You know, the Super Shock shadows. I mean, come on, this is not our first rodeo here. We all know Super Shock shadows, but somehow they have taken that formula, which is known to dry out if it basically hits the air, and turned it into a pressed product that seemingly doesn't need to have a super tight closed lid on top of it. So there are a lot of people, myself included, who are very curious to see how this formula is going to look on the eyes, if it's going to dry out or not. But as far as the actual swatches of the palette goes, especially with the Super Shock shades and the glitter shades that are in that palette, oh my good lord, is it beautiful or freaking what? Because I know, like I said, I know we already have these colors, but Jesus Christ, it is beautiful. And even if we might already have some of these tones in our collections, when it comes to the $18 price tag, it's practically impossible to pass it up. So I went ahead and picked up the Sweet Talk eyeshadow palette. It is so freaking beautiful. I cannot wait to try it, and I am so curious about that pressed Super Shock formula. Plus there are pressed glitters in the palette, so they had me 100% sold basically from the start. I also went ahead and purchased one of the Jelly Much eyeshadows from the new collection in the shade Close to You, which is like a cool toned ashy baby pink, if you will. It looks freaking fantastic, and does a girl need any more baby pink? Hell no. No, we don't need any more baby pink over here, but could I resist this beautiful baby pink eyeshadow? Also, hell no. So yeah, as you can tell here, I am super stoked on the collection, and I am really excited to try everything out. Keep your eyeballs peeled here on my channel for a video sometime in the near future on that beautiful new palette, because I will absolutely do a video on it because it is too beautiful to not do one. So the next makeup release that I wanted to talk about today is from BH Cosmetics, who I feel like releases products a lot that I typically miss out on. I feel like most of their launches I don't even hear about, or if I see them, my brain doesn't like process that it's BH Cosmetics and that they're coming out with something new, just because a lot of their things don't really interest me that much. I'm sorry, BH Cosmetics. Nothing against you guys, but I don't know what it is. I'm not super inclined to purchase from them. But last year I went ahead and purchased their weekend festival palette, and it was freaking fantastic and was very surprising like how good that palette was. And it looks like they're coming out with almost like a sister palette to the weekend festival palette. This is called the Color Festival palette, and it will be available on March 20th. It is going to retail for $20, and you get 20 shades of eyeshadow. Thought that was kind of funny because 20 and 20. You gotta wonder if they almost did that on purpose. Maybe someone over at corporate likes the number 20. So I have to admit, I am pretty drawn to this palette, and they definitely have me interested here. I feel like I would get a lot of use out of almost every shade that is included in this palette. I especially love the mix of purples and berries and lavenders with the pinks, and then I kind of like some of the neutral shades that have been thrown into the palette as well. I feel like you could really pick and choose between neutral and colorful shades in this palette and come up with some really beautiful looks. It's not super expensive either. I don't necessarily think that I need this palette, but considering BH Cosmetics doesn't really come out with a whole lot of things that personally grasp my attention, I think this is definitely something that is very interesting from them. This is definitely something that I think I would get use out of. I just know that I don't necessarily need this. So I think I'm gonna hold off for right now, because when I purchased the Weekend Festival palette, I was legitimately able to get it for like 12 bucks, and it was, I don't know, about 3 months after it came out, and it was marked down to $12. So I'm gonna go ahead and just hold off for a little bit, be patient, you know, hold myself back from purchasing, and I'm gonna try to get this palette for $12 again, because believe it or not, sometimes I can be a savvy shopper. I know it's surprising, but sometimes on very rare occasions it does happen, and this is going to be one of those times. So this next release is from somebody who is a controversial constance, but nonetheless this is a new release, so we're going to go ahead and chat about it here today. And this is from the self-proclaimed alien himself, Jeffree Star. Now he has announced he's coming out with his Blue Blood Spring collection, which is again another sister palette to an existing palette, which was his Blood Sugar collection that came out last year. So the Blue Blood collection will be available on March 29th at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's going to consist of the Blue Blood palette, which will be $52, which is the same price as the Blood Sugar palette. He's also coming out with 4 new shades of his Liquid Frost for $25 each, 2 different lip scrubs for $12 each, and finally a liquid lip set for $52. And it all consists of blue liquid lipstick that are all in little itty bitty adorable mini sizes. So let's go ahead and talk about the most exciting thing in this collection, which in my personal opinion is the palette. I mean, let's talk packaging here, okay? He nails his freaking eyeshadow palette packaging. Now, I remember his first palette, I believe it was the Beauty Killer palette. It was in just like a standard cardboard packaging, and the pans of his actual eyeshadows were pretty large, I believe. I don't personally have that palette, but I bought it from my cousin as like a Christmas gift one year, so random fact no one wanted to know. But although the palette was pretty, it wasn't anything super special as far as the aesthetic of it goes, but he seems to have really stepped up his aesthetic design for his eyeshadow palettes in his brand. I mean, you see one of his palettes and you know that it is Mr. Jeffree Star's palette because it's so unique and it's so, I don't know, interesting to look at. I mean, the man has had a freaking eyeshadow palette in the shape of an alien head, for God's sakes, and last year when the Blood Sugar palette came out, it was in the shape of like a VCR cassette tape, if you will. And if you were born after the year, I don't know, 2004, you might not know what that is, but us old folks over here used to use the VCR device to play our videos and movies and whatnot all the stinking time, so it was very nostalgic for us 90s and 80s people over here. I just made myself feel extremely old. But for this new palette, it basically looks very similar to the Blood Sugar palette, but he's made it more so in the shape of almost like a jewelry box meets a coffin, he said, which is very interesting and very Jeffree Star in my opinion. I think it's beautiful. I think he's just nailed the aesthetic design of packaging just in general for his brand. Now, in my personal opinion, whether you like him or not, I think that he does a really good job with picking out colors and different concepts for eyeshadow palettes as well. You know, it's important to have good packaging, but it's even more important to have good colors on the inside, you know, good eyeshadows and whatnot. The thing that you're actually buying here, it's important for that to be unique and interesting, and I think he definitely nails that. that. Now this entire palette obviously is just filled with freaking different colors of blue, which I think is going to be really exciting for some people. For me, I don't really dabble into blue eyeshadow that much. I did a little bit in summer, but you know, I'm just not really the blue eyeshadow gal. And that's mainly because I know it might not look like it, but my hair is in fact red, which on camera it looks black. Like, come on, I can see it too. It looks black, but in person my hair is like a maroon reddish kind of color. I don't know why it looks black on camera. I can't figure this stuff out, okay? And some people can really pull off the bold makeup and bold hair, or the blue eyeshadow look with bold hair as well. But on me, it's definitely just a little bit too much. I didn't feel quite comfortable in blue eyeshadow when I was trying to test it out and wear it. And a lot of people were coming for me about my makeup when I was wearing blue eyeshadow, so that's another reason why I stopped wearing it. Which might be dumb to some people, but my ego and my self-confidence is very, very soft. It's very fragile. It's very eggshell-like. So yeah, shots were fired and my soft little eggshell ego was definitely hurt. So although I do think the palette is just absolutely beautiful and I love the unique concept, I love the design, I love the aesthetic of everything, I'm just simply not going to be purchasing it for the sheer fact that a girl doesn't wear blue eyeshadow. And that's that. I have no idea how I end up rambling for 30 minutes already about 3 releases. I don't understand. I don't talk this much in person. If you ever meet me in person, I'm pretty quiet and reserved, and then I get in front of the camera and start talking about makeup, and it takes me 10 minutes to talk about every subject. I'm gonna end up cutting most of it out, but just giving you a little inside knowledge to what goes on in the back here, and it's basically just me rambling just non-stop for like 30 minutes straight. So now we are all done. We have washed our hands with the Sephora and the more mainstream brands, so let's go ahead and jump on into the indie brands. So the first indie brand that I wanted to talk about today is a brand that I've never personally tried before, but I have had quite a few of you guys ask me if I've tried them, and obviously there is some interest in the brand as far as you guys wanting me to test things out and whatnot, and I have to say I have been very intrigued by the brand as well, and this is Dear Katie Brown. Now I believe she makes only pressed glitters, and she has the most gorgeous, I mean freaking beautiful macro shots of her pressed glitters on her Instagram. Like, if you just want to be mesmerized by sparkly things, go over to her Instagram and just take a look at all of the macro shots of her pressed glitters. Like, you will be just freaking mesmerized. You won't be able to look away. So I have had many nights looking at her Instagram, not being able to pry myself away from my freaking phone, but I've never actually taken the plunge and bought one of her, I don't think boughten's even a word. I have never actually bought one of her items before, simply because they've always been sold out of the colors that I personally want. And big shocker here, all the colors that I want are obviously pink. But she recently announced the most beautiful palette. I don't think that anyone could have seen this coming. I don't think that I have ever seen someone come out with such a beautiful, all pink, all glitter palette in my entire life. And honestly, I kind of see this palette as a personal attack against myself and my money, because obviously, you know, if you come out with a palette like this, you already know beforehand that I'm gonna be giving you my money for this palette, okay? So I kind of see it as a personal thing here. I think she secretly knew that, you know, she would be able to get $35 out of me. But this absolutely perfect and beautiful all pink and all glitter palette does have a name. Her name is the Sincerely Dear Katie Brown palette, which is very confusing when you think about like that brand as a whole. The brand is called Dear Katie Brown, and this is the Sincerely Dear Katie Brown palette. Ugh. My brain like overheats and catches itself on fire when I think about that name too much. This palette is available right now, available for pre-order, and it retails for only $35 for 15 pressed glitter pans of beautiful shades of freaking pink eyeshadow. So yeah, of course I purchased it. I'm sure if you've seen this palette and you watch my channel and you enjoy any types of videos of mine, I'm sure you know that this was like an immediate purchase for me. And my birthday's coming up, so I figured I might as well ask for this for my birthday, because this palette is like the embodiment of me. So my boyfriend went ahead and purchased this for me for my birthday, so I am so freaking excited to get it. I'm not sure when these are going to ship out because it is a pre-order, so I would assume it's probably going to take a little bit longer to actually be able to obtain this, but nonetheless, I don't care if this took freaking 6 months to get. So of course I am super excited for this palette to come whenever it does. I don't care really how long it takes as long as it gets here, and I am really hopeful for this palette because it looks absolutely stunning. stunning, so I am absolutely going to be doing videos on it the second that it gets here. The second. Maybe not the exact second, because I don't think that's humanly possible, but you get what I'm saying. I'm freaking excited. And this last release that I wanted to talk about for this week is a very exciting one in my opinion, and this is from Menagerie Cosmetics. Now they just announced single eyeshadows, and every time a company announces single eyeshadows, I just have to stand up and applaud them for doing so, because some of us folks out here don't necessarily like to purchase palettes. And don't get me wrong, I'm not against purchasing palettes per se, but if I can get my hands on some single eyeshadows versus purchasing an entire palette, then I would more than likely do that instead. So every time a brand comes out with single shadows, I am just like so freaking happy. And this is a case where I am extremely happy that they announced this, because I have personally wanted to try some of their palettes for a very, very long time, basically since they announced their palettes. They have a particular palette called the Feral palette, and that palette has some absolutely beautiful pink metallics and hot pink mattes. The hair is just so freaking stunning, but the palette has a lot of different colorful shades, and there are some greens in there as well. So for some reason I never really just took the plunge, just because I knew there was going to be some shades in there that I just did not touch. So I was being a responsible girl and talked myself out of purchasing that palette many a times. I have already purchased the shade Starling, which is a gorgeous lavendery pink shifting metallic, which is right up my freaking alley. Shade Lily, which is a baby pink metallic. I purchased Pack Leader, which is a hot pink reddy magenta-y kind of metallic, which was from their Feral palette. And I purchased a single of the shade Wisteria, which is a beautiful matte hot pinky coral shade, which is from their Feral palette, which was initially the shade that got me interested in the brand in the first place. And honestly, I could have kept purchasing there if I wouldn't have pulled myself away from spending money, because I mean, I spent enough already. So I just stuck with the 4 and then dipped the heck out of there, because honestly I could have gotten more, and I think sometime in the future I will, because there are so many beautiful shades in their single shadow line that I would love to get my hands on. So yeah, I'm curious to know if you guys purchased any of them, or if you own the Feral palette, because I have heard nothing but good things about Menagerie Cosmetics and their eyeshadow formula, and their foiled formula looks freaking fantastic. I am so excited to try it, and they really have some beautiful looking eyeshadows. So you have to commend them for thinking of us weirdos in the back over here who like to stick with single shadows instead of palettes. Alright, but I've been chatting here for probably over an hour, and I am currently making people wait for me to go get ice cream. And I'm very excited to get some ice cream in this belly.
Many minutes later.
So coincidentally enough, my battery died legitimately right as I was saying I was gonna go get some ice cream. So I took that as a sign from the gods that I should just charge my battery and go grab myself an ice cream sandwich from this store downtown, and also change my shirt apparently. So that is exactly what I did. You want some? I would give you some if I could, but it's a camera. But as I was saying before, my battery rudely died on me and interrupted this, and I acquired this ice cream sandwich somehow. If you enjoy it, pay or stay away, and you are not already subscribed and you want to be in the loop on the new makeup releases, then what the heck are you doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below to stay in the loop with all of these crazy new makeup releases that are announced every single week, because I put them in order for you, because there are a lot to keep track of here. And like always, let me know in the comments what you purchased from these makeup releases for this week, and if there were any that I missed out on, if there were any that you're not excited about, let me know and strike up a conversation. But with that being said, I hope that you are having an absolutely amazing and beautiful day wherever you are, and thank you so much for spending your time here today. I hope to see you next time. Bye! This is a chocolate dipped ice cream sandwich. Like, does it get any better than this? Apparently I am now a mukbang or however it's pronounced. Apparently I'm one of those channels now.